Got to this computer. Okay, then. Once again, thanks, Sam, for taking out the time from a busy schedule. Agency owner. So thanks for making the time. Yeah, so just wanted to talk very casually about everything that's been going on. What a crazy start it's been for SEOs, right? 2026, it ended with that core update. And then New Year, Microsoft drops that AEO, GEO guide. Layoffs happening everywhere, AI companies sort of backtracking on how much they invested into SEO. Overall, just a crazy time for SEOs, a crazy start.
I'd say at least the last 12 months or so have been probably some of the craziest that I've known since I've been in the industry. Just with just with a massive shift, right? In terms of AI search, in terms of LLMs, in terms of all the conflicting information on what does and what doesn't work, whether classic SEO is dead or whether it's still alive, whether AEO or GEO or LLMO is a completely different strategy. So it's a bit of a crazy time for SEO and organic search right now. But nonetheless, still a fun industry to be in, at least for me.
Yep,
And always, like you say, always lots to learn. But I suppose the main thing is that there's still, certainly for the companies we work with, mainly B2B tech and software and SaaS, still pipeline and sign-ups and demos to be had with the right approach, mindset, and strategy.
definitely. Yeah, big divide right now. A lot of them are saying that SEO is dead, traffic is dead, impressions are a foregone metric, and all of the focus should be on AEO right now. But there's still the thing that Google still controls what, 90% of the organic search market. AEO is still a small share. And while traffic might be down, not might be, it is down across the board. I would say that conversions are still going strong. I mean, where I'm working right now, for many clients, they've had some of their best years post COVID, better than 23, better than 24. 25 was a record year in terms of signed cases and conversions. I would say it's still SEO is still very strong. It is the main organic growth channel that you can use.
Hmm. Yeah. There was a really interesting study from SimilarWeb and Graphite they put out, I don't know, in the last couple of weeks. And yeah, like you say, Google is still a demand capture beast. And even though Google have massively changed the SERP, like the presentation when you do a Google search, like Google Ads pretty much take up the whole above the fold before you scroll. According to their data, at least 90% of people are still, I think it was roughly 90% of people at least are still going through to the organic search results, which is interesting in itself. And yeah, I think, like you say, I think at least a lot of the companies we speak to still get a lot of inbound and pipeline from classic Google organic search, mainly because their strategies weren't necessarily as rock solid and as watertight as they could be. So they weren't capturing all the potential demand for dream clients kind of actually in market for their solutions. But as we can probably touch on, like there's a lot to scoop up and a lot of visibility to be had with LLMs and AI search as well.
That's true. And on that topic, their SEO strategy is not being as watertight. I recently made a post because my team lead asked how can we sort of, um, change our measurements in this AI search landscape. And that got me to thinking we can talk all day about how we can choose a different metric for clicks or impressions or whatnot. But if we track the core metric, which is conversions, signed cases, we should be good to go. And then it got me to thinking it's all very easy in theory, writing for your ICPs, pain points, doing customer research, but we SEOs don't do that, right? And our main blockers in terms of growth sometimes are either ourselves, our mental blocks, or the people around us. So we don't want to do the dirty, boring work of doing customer research, talking to them, understanding their pain points. We don't want to craft an SEO strategy that's focused on driving conversions. We want those tasty clicks. And then it also goes up towards the C-suite, right? They want those vanity metrics. Um, and then there are other issues sometimes where they constantly keep changing focus. They're not giving SEOs enough time to prove how good their skills are. So, what do you think about that? How important is that understanding that SEO is not about all the flashy work. It's about it. It is easy in theory, but we don't implement those things.
Yeah, I mean, SEO gets very difficult. Usually, the bigger business, the larger the business that you're working with, the more complex, let's say, that it gets, because usually when you're working with like big mid-market enterprise level clients, there's just so many bottlenecks that can slow down an SEO program because of various levels of sign-off between managers, directors, heads of, and so on. So everything can move very slowly, as you may or may not have seen. Um, I suppose to your point, like custom research, I'm a bit unusual in the sense that I have a sales background. So I'm not a technical SEO, hence why I employ folks on my team that are way smarter than me on that department. But everything we do actually starts with the customer. So it's we basically we're not even going to think about an SEO program until we've got solid customer research and we know exactly who the dream client is, what expensive problems they have, what are their jobs to be done, what are their struggling moments, like what do they try and do in house before they get so frustrated they might search for a better way to get the job done or a solution, or what are the main competitors in the market, where do those competitors fall short, or why do folks move from competitors over to us? What is, as our own product or service, what's our differentiators in the marketplace? What do customers hate most about our niche in our industry that really frustrates them? Like, what can we pull from sales calls around how customers describe in their own words, like our benefit, our solution, their problems, etc. Like, without that, without that kind of basic information, I feel like not just SEO, but any B2B marketing program or strategy will fall flat because you're basically doing it on guesswork when you could
Yep.
get this quantitative research that's just going to guide it so much better. And I think a lot of programs in general skip that part and might just jump into stuff like keyword research or writing content or doing technical fixes or whatever it might be before they've kind of built
Checklist.
up
Yeah.
a foundation. Yeah, exactly. Like anything, like, we don't have to talk about SEO. It could be any program. They just kind of check a box, install a plugin or run it through an AI tool, and then they think, "Yep, job done." But that's not really how you're going to convert like sophisticated ICPs and drive demos.
Oh, look, you're ranking first for your custom prompt in ChatGPT. When basically I've been doing that search for 10 times in a row, and the LLM has trained it into its memory, and I didn't even do it on incognito. That's a
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. I mean, prompting in
Mhm.
itself, I'm still not 100% sold that tracking prompt visibility is the best way. I think it's part of the program, right? Yeah, we want to track AI visibility, but it just
Yeah.
feels very, very skewed, at least to me.
More of a directional metric. Are you showing up for those prompts broadly, and what those prompts say about you, um, your reputation? Because after that, there could be tens of dozens of different permutations, and tracking each prompt. Yeah, not that,
Exactly.
not enjoyable.
Exactly. And each, like you say, each user can have their own saved history. Each user can
Context.
search something vastly different, and how are we going to track that? Like you say, broadly speaking, are we showing up for our bottom of tunnel
Mm.
funnel prompts, which is a bit like showing up for your bottom of funnel keywords on Google at a very broad level?
Yeah. You mentioned something about how different, about how extensive this customer research could be. When you sign up any new clients, when you're onboarding them or in a discovery call, do you mention all of this, that we would need all of this information about your customers and clients? We will focus first on capturing the existing demand, BOFO keywords. And do you get any sort of pushback to that? Clients saying that we rather target this 1,000 search volume keyword. How do you handle those objections?
We don't really, but then I think that's because of our sales process. So we don't. work with any client. Like we're quite strict on who we work with. They need the reason being is most of the time we're working, not all the time. We do work with a few founders. Like a few of our clients, we work directly with a founder, and then usually the slightly larger kind of software and tech companies will work with marketing teams. A lot of the time, quite small marketing teams, like two to three. So usually during the discovery process, first we'll actually identify if SEO and AI search is a good fit for that company. Is there active demand that they can collect? Like are they in a somewhat mature
Mm.
category where SEO makes sense because their dream clients are actually searching for their solution on Google or AI search or similar? So let's determine that first. Then secondly, are they motivated to do SEO? Because sometimes folks are just considering it and they might think, oh, we want to get tons of traffic through the door, but we're also weighing up like ramping up our paid search or I don't know, spending more on SDRs or building out a referral program. And I'll usually steer people away. I'll say, look, if you're thinking about SEO, then if you've
Mm.
already got channels that are proven, ramp those up. Like just keep putting more
Yes.
fuel into the fire when you're ready to take SEO seriously and like build a solid foundation and kind of make it a sustainable channel, then I'm happy to pick up the conversation. So more often than not, I'm pushing folks away on sales calls unless they are genuinely motivated to do it. Hence why we at Breaking B2B invest tons into content marketing through our YouTube educational resources, LinkedIn content, the newsletter, and so more. So ideally, when folks come in the door, they're already somewhat sold. They know our process, they know how we work, they know our clients, etc. Um, so that was the first part of the question in terms of who to work with. What was the second part you asked?
If they have any objections, for example, when I was working with this B2B data management firm, one objection they had to Bufo keywords would be how would we be seen by the customers? If we're
Gotcha.
writing content on our competitors, we might be seen in a negative light. Our competitors might
Hmm.
see us, they might retaliate. Our potential clients might see us in a negative light. Even though that content had driven customers for them, it got them revenue. They had a sales sheet, our us versus our competitor, but they weren't willing to put it on their website, put it in a blog format, and they were ready to forego their revenue. So how would you go about convincing a potential client? Or is there sort of a limit where you just have to say
Oh, I
that,
see. I
okay,
see.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I suppose the first part was like collecting customer research. We'll
Mm.
explain that as part of the sales process, which I think any agency should. That if we want to have the best bet of kind of driving good fit leads in the door, then we need to pull customer research from you folks, which we'll do as part of our onboarding form. If we can get sales call transcripts, customer success, customer support transcripts, we can kind of run that through a GPT and build our own knowledge bank that'll inform our research, our strategy, as well as our writers when we build out the content. So bottom of funnel stuff, yeah, like you say, like I mean, with SaaS, a lot of it is working out a lot of the competitor content when folks are looking for like competitor alternative, competitor one versus competitor two versus you, or competitor pricing or competitor reviews. Some companies do push back on that exactly right. So they might say it's not usually the marketers. If we're dealing with a marketer, they'll probably be like, "Yeah, we'd love to do that, but I don't know, our head of legal maybe, or something like that doesn't want us to mention competitors." And I'll always push back, or my team will push back and say, "Well, look, we've worked with 35, 40 SaaS companies at this point, and this is one of the kind of it's one of the quickest to rank strategies in Google Organic and AI search, and it's also one of the most effective because we know the nature of human beings is that if we get annoyed or get frustrated with something, then we might look for a new, better way to get the job done. And if one of your competitors is falling short on customer support or their pricing goes sky high because they just got acquired, i.e., SEMrush, or or they or something else happens that causes conflict, then a customer is going to search for an alternative to that. And showing up in those with usually it could be a landing page, but most likely listicle based articles like we evaluate the top X alternatives of 2026 is a really great way to capture that traffic and capture that demand and show folks kind of where you stand out based on the research that you've done with your customers and why they choose to work with you. And I'd say, look, this is going to be like one of the quickest ways we could probably drive pipeline within 90 days of working together. And if they still push back, then there's not a lot you can do. but we would
Yeah,
push quite hard and say, look, this is one of the playbooks we're going to run. We'd highly recommend it. There is other plenty of other stuff we can do, but it's probably one of, like, for example, we work with a company called Cota that's like in the insurance software tech space. We just published a alternative page for them. It ranked in 40 days on both AI
yeah,
and Google
I
Organic.
saw that.
Just
Yeah,
shows you that ridiculously quick. So that's all thanks to the team. That's not me, but it just shows you that this stuff is worth doing. But yeah, like you say, not everyone's going to do it. It's usually the larger companies that push back because they don't like mentioning their competitors, but it's a proven strategy.
definitely. Yeah, and 90 days seems like a short period of time, but definitely achievable to grow pipeline and content within that time, right?
For sure.
So yeah, you mentioned one example, and these Bofu keywords very comparatively easy to rank for, and I think those people saying that SEO might take years in 6 to 9 months, we can definitely drive results before that. And again, it boils down to targeting bottom of the funnel content and capturing that 5% of their customers that are actually in market searching for the product.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also, one thing which I like about your content is that you're not shy to hide the details, right? Your 140K MRR in 2 years, is it? Customer details, you being very open about how you're driving revenue, which channels you're driving revenue through, your client success. It's all very public, even your pricing, right? On the Breaking B2B site, many websites don't do it. They keep their pricing hidden. So what was the motivation behind being very public about everything?
Yeah, I thought really most of the things I do, I guess at a very high level, how I think about our general content marketing strategy for breaking B2B is get attention first. So get attention in our case from our dream clients, our ICPs, which is marketing leaders at tech and SaaS companies. And how do I get attention? Well, I think about how can I do the opposite of what most other SaaS SEO agencies are
Mm.
doing? Not every, because there's plenty of like really smart SaaS SEOs posting brilliant stuff. Don't get me wrong, but most of it's quite tactic based and quite kind of
Mm.
general. Kind of these. This is a tip or this is a strategy I run, and we do that stuff as well. But then I also thought, how can I stand out here? Hence why I've done stuff like SEO man, dress up as Superman, run around my local high street, do some stupid stuff. I've done things like grab my mic, go to local cities, go to London, go outside Trafalgar Square, ask people how to get to the top of Google, wear a massive sandwich board where it says AI killed SEO, and then people
Mm.
like what looking at me around London wondering what the heck I'm doing, like do this stuff to stand out, but then it's linked back to our offering, in our case, SEO for SaaS, and then I will still do breakdowns, case studies, tips, how-tos, plenty of content on a YouTube, like where we literally share our full playbooks and also being, I guess, being transparent as well, like you say, again, something a
Yep.
little bit different where we'll share exactly what channels work for us to drive pipeline and revenue and what does work, what doesn't, what we're running as experiments. Um, Also to kind of hold myself accountable at the same time.
And it also helps with visibility, right? People might be searching breaking B2B pricing, and instead of like a competitor hijacking that response in AI organic search with a fake number, for example, 20,000 plus per month, they get that accurate pricing, and you are the source. So that also helps with visibility.
Oh yeah, from an SEO standpoint and
Yeah,
just general practice, agreed. We
yeah.
s- we set, tell this to a lot of B2B SaaS companies that we might speak to that don't show pricing. Usually when you get to, I don't know, 20K plus ACV, a lot of companies tend to hide it or a good chunk. And that's where I'll say exactly what you said. Like you could hide it, sure, but if someone searches for your pricing on ChatGPT, they're probably going to see a disgruntled Reddit thread with a user like saying like, this is really annoying. I didn't see their pricing. It's actually this, and it could be completely wrong. Like could be completely false information.
Exactly.
So it's all about controlling that narrative right and having that page on your website.
Mm. AI doesn't know what's right or wrong. Hey, it's if enough sources on the web talk about it, yeah, let's show it.
Exactly.
That's this is something which I also admired. So yeah, kudos on that. Kudos on building such a public brand. Um, what are the next steps? Sort of high level, um, growing, breaking B2B, expanding maybe into non SaaS. I think you do have some non SaaS clients, maybe focusing more on towards that.
Yeah, we like working with tech and SaaS. We do occasionally pick up a B2B service client, and we can run that because I mean we do SEO and AI search for ourselves, right? And we're B2B services. So we practice what we preach. We rank for like best SaaS SEO agencies and similar kind of terms and prompts. So we do our own stuff. So we do work with occasionally service companies. We prefer working with tech. Usually just because, like we talked at the top of this call, usually because a lot of SaaS companies have marketers in-house that already know the power of SEO and AI search. So they're already kind of, we don't have to teach them what it's about and how it works and why they should do it. They've usually got some kind of experience in search. They know that it's powerful. They know with the right strategy, they can kind of collect demand and drive, whether that's signups, demos, booked calls for their team. So they're already kind of pre-motivated, which helps us. It means we can have more meaningful conversations, get more deals over the line, and do better work. So that's usually why I've lent into that at Breaking B2B, and also because at my last agency, where I was some years ago, we basically tried to sell to anyone and everyone, and that was trying to
Okay.
sell websites, SEO to all kinds of small businesses, big businesses, any industry. It was painful because a lot of these we had to convince, whereas now most of my content is shifted towards that niche. It just makes it a lot easier for everyone.
So picking a niche that is important for growth.
Pick a niche and
Long
get
term.
rich. That's what I'm working on anyway.
Did you coin that? Did you
No,
trademark that?
not at all. Most of the stuff I've learned through like interviewing people on the podcast, Breaking B2B, way smarter than me. I consume a lot of content on marketing, business, and entrepreneurship, and I've learned a lot. Like I say, that lesson I've learned the hard way as well.
Yeah, I think you also mentioned about knowing what your limitations are and then hiring people who are better at those limitations and then letting them take it forward. I think that's also a great way of growing. Helps you keep humble as well. Yeah,
Oh, for
definitely.
sure. Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, well, you're joining our team. We've got Hamad, we've got Fred, we've got like strategists that are far smarter than me at B2B and SaaS SEO. So they run the strategy. I'll get out their way. I'll give them what they need. I'll support them as much as I can, and then let them get on with the work. They can work with our content team, the off-page team, and kind of get the work done. Meanwhile, my I'm much better at creating content, whether that's video content posted on LinkedIn. I much more enjoy the marketing and the selling side of things. I know SEO, but I'd rather kind of
Yeah.
hire folks like yourself that are way smarter and better than me.
Well, you're great at what you do, right? That's your unique strength. Um, Video content, founder brand on LinkedIn, um, using your network to bring in guests that shared your podcast with their followers, and that gets in referrals that way. So it's all interconnected, right?
All works
Um,
together.
yeah. So any major goals for 2026 for Breaking B2B?
Yeah, I mean, we have the usual ones like around, we have revenue goals, we have goals to ramp up like certain pipeline, um, also to build the infrastructure as well. So hence why we're hiring you. Maybe we'll hire another strategist in a few months' time. So I can so I can spend more of my time on those things I just mentioned, like the marketing and like the higher level goals of the business, the selling, etc. And then get the business into a point where we just kind of really well known in the niche. Like that, some nice signals last year where we were getting recommendations for like well-known B2B community sites like Exit 5 gave us a few recommendations, and people that were even talking about us at conferences. And then we were getting leads, like booked calls, and people said like someone mentioned you at a conference and stuff like that, which is really nice to hear. So to kind of, I guess, carve out Breaking B2B as being like the SaaS SEO agency for revenue metrics, not vanity. For SEO and AI search would be like nice, continue that. We've got certain revenue goals, we've got certain process goals and infrastructure goals, and certain inbound and pipeline goals, and the same team make sure that the team is motivated and happy, and we're supporting them as much as we can and doing the best work for clients. And then I have other goals around kind of the content engine as well. So that's it at a high level.
Yeah. Speaking of AI, ChatGPT just rolled out ads. Google just made a partnership with Siri. It's all going to be very dynamic going on, right? I mean, we don't know if ChatGPT is going to survive. Google is really clamping down on their throats with all these partnerships, forcing GPT to finally unveil their ad model. So I think it's going to be a very dynamic time, 2026. If major AI tools even survive or not.
Just waiting for Google to make AI mode the default, and
Oh,
then
please, no.
it's all gonna get crazy, man.
I mean, conversions might probably still be unaffected, and but the revenue is going to go down like well, I was about to say Titanic, but never mind. Yeah, it's going to be a bad day for traffic and impressions, but it's all going to be about what we optimize for, right? What we measure, and how we communicate that to the C-suite. Like,
Yeah, I
okay,
mean, a lot of SEOs, myself included, I think have been saying for a while that we're moving into slowly and steadily, or probably depending on how the next 6 to 12 months go, maybe faster, that search is moving into more of a mind share game. So being the known brand each and every time someone searches for the problem you solve, your solution directly, your software compares you to other vendors, all that kind of stuff, integrations, use cases, whatever it may be. Like if your brand consistently shows as a suggested one in ChatGPT or AI search or Google Organic, then they're going to Google your company name, or they're going to go direct to your homepage. Um, so mind share, and also not just thinking SEO as, which I've been saying for ages, as a silo channel, but
definitely. Yeah.
being on those core channels that your dream clients use. That's why we invest so much into YouTube, into LinkedIn. We run LinkedIn ads, so if someone does visit our website, we can stay top of mind and entertain and educate those folks.
So would you also suggest a strategy to your clients, an omni-channel one, be present on YouTube, TikTok, even if your clients search there for some of the lower AOV type of SaaS software?
Yeah, as always, it depends on
Yeah.
one, how much resource you've got in house. Like if you're like us, if you're a bootstrap, scrappy company that's maybe under 1 million revenue ARR, then you might not even have a marketer. It might just be all founder led with a very small team. So you've got limited time and cash. Then you want to focus on what we call the no-brainer channels. So where does your dream clients 100% use that they trust to get information from? Is that search? Is that maybe Reddit? Is there specific podcasts they listen to? Are there specific in events that only they attend? And like show up with those, the ones most likely to have your dream clients, because that's where you're going to kind of get that pipeline from. Don't try and do everything and spread yourself thin, because I've done that. Whereas if you're a larger company and you've got like a small marketing team and you've got resources and cash, then of course you can go into more stuff. You can go into more channels that on a priority basis that your dream clients are using and trusting daily. Like for example, right for us right now, SEO, YouTube, LinkedIn founder brand, and then LinkedIn paid ads to stay in front of prospects with retargeting is just working really well. It's like a killer trio to drive like booked calls most days for us. So that's what we're kind of doubling down on that strategy. But who's to say that might change in 6 to 12 months?
You never know. Maybe an out-of-home advertising campaign, having a banner somewhere in a central place, maybe on a bus that just goes by to the main avenue saying, fed up with your current B2B company, try breaking B2B.
There you go. Why not? I'll try most things.
Oh man, that's really inspirational. And yeah, I'm gonna let you go now. I know you're a very busy person, and it's been great. Fantastic talk. r- Learned a lot. Valuable exchange of ideas. So yeah, thank you, Sam. And yeah, looking forward to working soon, kicking some ass, and yeah, learning a lot.
Appreciate it, man. Good to chat.
No worries, no worries. Thanks again for taking the time. Bye bye.